Hello and welcome to episode 24 of the Nonsensory podcast. I'm your host, Joe, and I'm joined by my co-host,
Evan.
What's up, Evan?
What's up, guy?
We're pleased to announce that we've partnered up with the good people at Gaming Access Weekly, an independent gaming website, to provide them with our podcasting content. If you'd like, you can head over to gamingaccessweekly.com to check out all the news, previews, editorials, and reviews they have to offer. John, Vanessa, and the rest of the GAW staff are amazing, hardworking, and talented individuals who are really dedicated to games journalism, and we are honored to be part of their team. This won't mean any change of any kind. There's no money exchanging hands. We're both just a mutually beneficial relationship that we're entering into. So that'll be cool. So we'll be able to give them a podcast and they give us a place to host it. And so very excited with this news.
We're excited to see where this relationship takes us. So there we go.
With that being said, as always, you can listen to us in audio form on Spotify, iTunes, Google Podcast, and Stitcher. If you'd like to, get more visual stimulation, please head over to our YouTube page, like and subscribe, and click the bell to receive notifications whenever we put out new content. You can find us on Twitter at Nonsensory1, on Facebook at Nonsensory Podcast, and please join us for our weekly Tuesday stream at 7:30 p.m. Eastern at twitch.tv/nonsensory. So we've got our intro out of the way, Evan.
Yes. It feels good. Do you like the new setup, everybody?
Yeah.
We've got a more relaxed setup. We've got the couch here. We've got, some more art on the wall. We're kind of just easing back, getting rid of the stuffy table kind of thing, trying this out for a little bit, see how it goes. So
lapel mics to come.
Yes, hopefully soon. We're making it work with what we got for the moment, but slowly but steadily, we will continue to make improvements, and hopefully you'll enjoy it on your end. With that being said, I'd also like to just point out that our relationship with Gaming Access Weekly is I'm just very happy to be doing it. I've known Vanessa and John for many years. I worked with them at Gaming Access Weekly before it was Gaming Access Weekly. And, they just do great work. Everybody just has like this general like passion for what they're doing because it's not, it's a smaller site. They don't get as much traffic as a place like Polygon or something like that. But, everybody just kind of does it for the love of the craft. And that's kind of why we're doing it too.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
We have that kind of shared goal. They need podcast content and we provide it. And then we can, talk about some of the stuff that they've got going on. They've put out a bunch of really interesting editorials and stuff and their reviews and stuff. So I'm happy to kind of try to integrate some of their content with ours and kind of have like a mutually beneficial kind of relationship going on.
Yeah.
So thanks very much, John, Vanessa, and the rest of the crew. We're happy to be on board, and we hope we're what you're looking for, basically. So,
I mean, just for like disclaimer purposes, our views aren't necessarily their views, and vice versa. We're an independent thing.
Yeah.
So, like we're not vetted by their editorial staff or anything.
We don't
like that.
have to check in with them or whatever. We're just kind of doing our own thing, and they're doing their thing, and we kind of just copacetically exist.
Yep.
So, with that being said, Joe, I'd like to get into the question of the day.
Absolutely.
And our question of the day is, and please, again, we've said this many times, but you can also comment and send us an email at nonsensorypod@gmail.com or hit us up on Twitter at nonsensory1 if you'd like to respond, or you can hit us up in the comments again right below. But I guess we're going with, what is the best spaceship in sci-fi television / movies / whatever? Do you want to do it television movies, or you want to extend it to games too?
I think going games might take away a little bit because like that gives you an entirely different feel. You know what I mean? Like that brings in too many variables, and like you get a more direct control over it, like more insight into it. So I feel like it kind of muddies the waters.
Okay, so why don't you go ahead? You came up with the question. I'm interested to see what inspired you to even bring it up.
So I heavily lean towards Darth Vader's special TIE fighter.
Okay.
Because that thing is just so bad tookus.
Okay.
But for the answer to this question, I'm actually going to go the new Battlestar Galactica. Their main ship.
Okay. Like just is it what do you know what it's called?
Battlestar Galactica.
The Galactica.
I don't remember.
Whatever.
But I love it. It's so cool. Do you?
I'll say mine, and you can
All
check
right,
it out. I would have to go with Spike's ship from Cowboy Bebop, the Swordfish.
You know what? Yeah, that's
The Swordfish. It's just it's his battle cruiser basically. Like it's his more agile ship that it's his personal thing outside of the Bebop itself. I would also if you. I'd put the Bebop up there pretty closely because it's just iconic, and I'm a giant Cowboy Bebop nerd. I also really like the ship that they all arrive on in Trigun. You've seen Trigun, obviously. The ship where they go and they show Vash and Knives as little kids, and they're on that ship, and it's basically basically like part of a bunch of arcs trying to get humans into outer space and stuff like that, because the Earth is all screwed up. And that's where all the misdeeds that, set up the rest of this show kind of start. So I'm going to go with that. I hope it is called like the Battlestar or something.
Actually, I have a couple of names here that were provided on fandom.com. But it's like, I'm not seeing it here, and I don't want to devote too much time to trying to look it up. There's like the Adriatic, the Astral Queen, what was the other one? Yeah, I'm not seeing it, at least as far as I can tell. But
you are the Astral Queen. Feel the beat from your laser beams. Oh yeah. All right, I'm sorry. I subject our viewers to way too much me singing. It's really bad. So
I do, like, after you said it, I kind of was like, yeah, Cowboy Bebop, the Swordfish is an awesome choice.
I have debate. I mean, I love tattoos, and that was going to be one of my tattoos. I want to get the Swordfish flying with trails behind it, and on top of the trails just says "See you later, Space Cowboy."
Oh,
I want
dude.
that real bad. I want that real bad.
Nope, I'm stealing it. I have a tattoo I need to cover up, like right here. And that's what I'll do.
I didn't know you had a tattoo there.
Yeah, I have one here and I have one on my
Oh,
shoulder.
I didn't know that. All right. I've only seen the one on your arm.
Yeah.
All right.
There you go.
Nice. I don't know what YouTube's policy is on showing guns on camera. Hey! Oh, that was awful. All right, so we got a lot of news to get through, so why don't I go ahead and start with the first one?
Sorry.
Sony opens pre-orders for PS5 without a price announcement. This is from Kotaku. Kotaku's Luke Plunkett. Sony isn't letting a lack of price or proper release date, despite rumors of a November launch, and Sony's reassurance that it's definitely still launching in 2020, stop them from opening pre-orders for the next generation console, the PlayStation 5, to consumers. This part is taken from Kotaku's article. There's apparently a limited quantity of PS5 consoles available for pre-order, with those being taken on a first-come, first-served basis, and being offered only to existing consumers. That means you need to already have an active PSN account, and I'm guessing evidence that you've had a PlayStation console to go along with it. And who knows, by the time you're reading this, they may all be gone. But if you want to try, the access page is here, and if you need to get it, and if you get in, the maximum you'll be allowed to order will be one PS5 console or one PS5 digital edition, 2 DualSense wireless controllers, 2 DualSense charging stations, 2 Pulse 3D wireless headsets, 2 media remotes, and 2 HD cameras. There's also an additional thing that I pulled from the PS5 pre-order FAQ, which asks, who will be selected to receive an invitation? And they answer, our selection is based on previous interest in PlayStation activities. So I took that to kind of think of, maybe this is hinting at Sony putting measures in place to ensure that scalpers don't use bots or hoard all of the PS5s. and sell them for markup on eBay and other reseller sites, which was a huge problem for pretty much
Every console,
every
the last,
console launch. Yeah.
for the last since the Wii.
Yeah, basically since like online resellers like Amazon and stuff like that started to do this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And if that is really what would happen from that, I'm all about it, because I really just they really need to do something about that. Like, it's not, it just ruins launches. You know,
does.
everybody wants a console, and then some.
It shouldn't be so hard to get a hold of a system when it first comes out. I know, I think I've mentioned it on the show before, but when I bought my Wii the first time, so I had a small inheritance when I turned 18, and then the Wii came out not long after that, and I actually could not find one. And as it turns out, it ended up taking like years.
Yeah,
It took a long time for them to be available again.
yeah. It feels like for the first year you couldn't find them
Anywhere.
and even with the PS4. I remember seeing stuff like $600-$800, and
Well,
I knew people that were specifically like going to go out and buy them so that they could resell them. You know, like people would tell me that, and I'm like, I hate you. Don't do that.
Yeah. So I actually I bought my Wii on eBay. At that time on eBay, there was no buy it now price. That hadn't been invented yet.
Right. Yeah.
So
only auctions. Yeah.
yeah. So I actually put my maximum bid at something like $1,500, not thinking it would ever get anywhere close to that, and got sniped in the last minute all the way up to $1,400. I spent $1,400 on my first Wii.
Holy crap!
Yep.
Wow. Well, hopefully
Yeah.
that will. Hopefully, what Sony is planning on doing right now will keep that from actually happening. I do think it's kind of dumb that they're trying to, sell the system without a price or release date at this point. I guess you're just going to be like reserving like a placeholder price at the moment, but come on, guys. Just announce the damn price already. Announce the release date.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. How are you doing this? So you're gonna just agree to spend an unknown amount of money before this thing comes out?
Well, I mean, other sites have started to do this, but it's also like they're other sites, though. They're not the manufacturer of the damn console.
No, I mean I get that, but what I'm saying, how do you know you're going to be willing to spend? I mean, I guess if you're one of the, if you have an unlimited, stack of cash to go
Right.
from,
If you're like, I want one.
then you'll be willing to, but you're agreeing to pay an amount that you don't even know what it is. Like,
Right.
what if they come out and it's like $800? Well, you already agreed you're going to pay for it.
Right, yeah. I don't know. It doesn't seem... It's something I would never do. I would never pre-order a thing without knowing the price. This just seems ridiculous. But if you... Let us know how you feel. If you're somebody that would, go out and just buy a console just because you want it, and price is no object for you, or if you're like, okay, if it's $600, whatever, I don't know. It seems like even if they put up a placeholder price that's like really expensive, I can't imagine that eventually it's not gonna, once they announce the price, it would come back down. But, so yeah, let us know what you think. Are you gonna get a PS5? Would you pre-order without knowing the price? Let us know.
Yeah, I definitely wouldn't do that. So this is an article by Sam Byford at The Verge. Byford.
Buy American. Buy Ford.
After delaying the game into 2021, Microsoft brings in Halo veteran to assist development on Halo Infinite. So, I'm sorry, I pulled this up, but it's being okay. So, in this article, Joseph Staten, a veteran of the Halo series, has returned to the franchise and will work on the campaign for the upcoming Halo Infinite. The news was first reported by Bloomberg, and Staten confirmed the move on Twitter. That is what his name, Staten? Or Staten?
It's Staten, yeah.
Okay. I'm thrilled to join at Halo to help them ship Halo Infinite, Staten says. As the project lead for the Infinite campaign, I will be supporting the team's existing great leaders and empowering them to do their best work. Halo Infinite was planned to launch alongside the Xbox Series X in November, but was delayed into next year following an underwhelming demonstration during Microsoft's Xbox Games Showcase. We have made the difficult decision to shift our release to 2021 to ensure that the team has adequate time to deliver a Halo game experience that needs That meets our vision, studio head Chris Lee said at the time. Statton's appointment, just a few months before the game was originally supposed to ship, suggests that changes to Halo Infinite may be significant. At Bungie, he wrote the scripts and directed the cutscenes for the first 3 Halo games, as well as writing a well-received novel based on the franchise. He was later a writer and creative director on Destiny before leaving Bungie in 2013. In short, Statton is the person you would want on board if your goal was to make Halo Infinite feel like a return to classic Halo form. The question then is just how much work needs to be done and how long the delay will turn out to be.
Yeah, that seems to be the biggest question that you could possibly take from that. Because obviously them showing Halo Infinite and promising that Halo Infinite was going to be a huge launch title for them, and then them just delaying it into next year was already a big red flag. But if you're bringing somebody in that's basically, you know, a writer / director of cinematics and stuff, it seems like the changes that they're going to make is more of going back to the drawing board than last minute tweaks, which doesn't seem good, man. It really doesn't. Like it just makes you really, really question the direction of the studio. And like,
well, what this tells me, I mean, I don't know how much back to the drawing board you could be going if you're still claiming that you're going to have a 2021 release date. How much can you do in a year?
Right. That's a fair point.
And they have to be making major changes to be bringing this guy on, but it's not back to the drawing board. It's just, I don't know.
Right. The time period would make you think that you can't make that much of a change, but the nature of the guy that they're bringing on makes it seem like they're going to be making a bunch of changes.
Exactly. That doesn't instill much confidence. You're either going to just crunch to make something as fast as possible so you can meet that deadline. That's possibility 1. Possibility 2, you're going to keep pushing and pushing and pushing back the date. Or 3, you're going to release a subpar
Halo game. Yeah. Yeah, and I think we've talked about it before when we've talked about crunch, is that a lot of people in the industry, you know, people hear like a delay and they go, oh, well, that's great. That's good. That'll give the team more time. And it just really means just extended crunch for them.
Yeah.
You know, it's not just, it's not like more, you know.
I don't think it always means that. I think in this case it means
that. It's going to definitely be like over a year and a half of just extended crunch to get this game fixed and ready to go.
Yeah.
Which, look, 343 has been on for 4, 5, and now this game. I don't know if they're the studio to do this. I don't know. Like, at some point, Microsoft has to look at the studio and go, are they the right people to be making Halo? Because they haven't delivered anything that's been well received by the community. And now your big launch title has to be pushed back out of the launch window, which hugely weakens your offerings for this whole console launch, which is hugely important. Like, this has ripples beyond just, is Halo going to be good?
Yeah, yep.
So,
I mean, the entire conference was basically murdered because of that announcement.
Yeah.
That just brutal. So, no, you're making a good point. I mean, I don't think, I'm not trying to say anything about 343 because I feel like I personally haven't had a like, it seems like they deliver good stuff.
Yeah.
But they might not be the right team.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I liked Halo 4 well enough, but I never played 5, and I'm just going, you know, I'm not the only person that buys these games. And for the most part, the community has like largely rejected the last 2 games. Plus MCC, which launched broken as hell on Xbox One whenever it launched and wasn't fixed for like years afterwards. So I just don't, there's only so long that, you know, people are going to give you the benefit of the doubt with games from a studio before they just tune out.
Yeah, absolutely.
Speaking of studios that really need to show something good before everybody loses faith, if they haven't already, BioWare revealed a behind-the-scenes look at the next Dragon Age game on Thursday at Gamescom opening night live stream. This included a look at some concept art, an interview with developers on the project, and an idea of some of the larger themes in the game's narrative. This is from Cass Marshall at Polygon. There wasn't a whole lot of information in the behind-the-scenes look, but we learned that the next Dragon Age will focus on on what happens when you don't have access to power and when the people in charge are not addressing the world's problems. As much of this is concept art and animations in a gray room testing environment, it's clear that the next Dragon Age is still early in development. It's surprising for a behind-the-scenes look at a title to be so vague and unclear. It looks as though BioWare is not yet ready to reveal much in the way of story details or gameplay systems. It came across a bit like a collage ad for the concept of BioWare games, talking about the big picture design philosophies and fan-favorite aspects of the Dragon Age franchise, rather than any particular detail of the next game. The next Dragon Age was first unveiled at the Game Awards in 2018 with the tagline, "The Dread Wolf Arises," along with images of Inquisition antagonist Solus. The last Dragon Age title, Dragon Age Inquisition, was released in 2014. Joe, any thoughts? Are you a Dragon Age fan? Have you been a Dragon Age fan?
I've not really played them much. I think I tried putting in a couple of minutes at one point.
Yeah.
Colin really seemed to like the Dragon Age games.
Yeah, as soon as he got that new PC, that was one of the first games he installed and was playing again, was Inquisition.
Yeah. He seemed to really like them.
He's a big BioWare fan, though. He loves like Mass Effect, too, so it's like...
Yeah, he even liked the newer Mass Effect that everyone was like, this game is crap. Colin was like,
My buddy Ryan really liked it. Like, the combat was genuinely fun. It just wasn't as well written, I would say, as the other ones.
Yeah. I wasn't criticizing him for saying that he liked it. I'm just saying it seemed like it wasn't well received, and he liked that. Sure. And then the Dragon Age games, I've heard good and bad things about them. So I don't know.
Well, we covered it previously how, there was like the big, I think it was also a Kotaku report that came out and like exposed like the horrible, horrible working environment at BioWare while they were making, what was the last game they put out? Why am I drawing a blank? Shoot. Oh man, I'm the worst. Either way, there was that huge article. Oh, Anthem.
Oh, yeah.
So Anthem was delivered as like a giant turd that nobody liked, and then they weren't going back to the drawing board with that. At that time, then they said that they were canceling what they had done basically with Dragon Age up to that point and restarting it. Yeah. So at this point, I'm not surprised that they're at the point where they are, and I'm kind of happy to hear that they're still like, this happened back in 2018 when they like revealed just a little bit of engine, stuff. To me, this has to give you a little bit of hope that they are trying to stem the tide of crunch, and that they did go back to the drawing board and are really examining how they work as a studio. Because, if we were already seeing, if they had just rebooted the entire project a couple years ago, and then they're already showing you like nearly finished stuff, that they're still on that same breakneck crunch schedule. So, if it takes them a while before the next Dragon Age, that's fine. And it feels like they really need to like take a long look at what they're making as a studio. So
I actually just want to like make a side note while we're the crunch thing just comes up again and again. And I was kind of thinking about this, and it's like at work, like for me, we'll have slow times and we'll have you'll be slammed. At the end of the day, I get to walk away.
Right.
There'll be times where I'll wrap up whatever I'm in the middle of. But, 5 o'clock rolls around, I walk out the door and I go home.
Yeah.
The thing that like, the other thing about it is like, I don't know if they can just, you put in a 10-hour day, like for them, like, do they have the choice? It's like, okay, I've done 8 hours and now I'm going to leave, or is it like, no, you have to stay here another 4 hours?
From a lot of the reports that I've seen, it is that where like they'll be encouraged to work overtime, but they don't need to work overtime. But if they don't work overtime, that it's kind of noted, where they feel like they're treated worse.
Right.
And then also like they'll put in their time and then they'll go home and they'll still have to answer emails and all that stuff while they're
Right.
off, and it doesn't really end for them.
But that was the other thing that I was going to get to. It's like what I do is very physical.
Right.
Okay. So I think it's like it's not fair if you work in a field where, like I do, where what you're doing is physical.
Mm-hmm.
It's not fair to compare that to what they're doing while building a game, because you might experience something similar if you work in a physical job where it's like when you go home and now I still have to do all my work around the house.
Yeah.
Now I got to go home and now I got to like rip this wall out and fix this plumbing, which, people do.
Right. Yeah.
So it's like, I understand from that perspective, like once you go home, you don't want to have to mentally work now. Because now you're in a job where, like, I get the physical exhaustion side, but that's an entirely different thing than just your brain just doesn't want to work anymore.
For me, the mental exhaustion is actually worse.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Just from, like, putting in my 8 hours a day at my very physical job and then coming home and, like, I am so much more zonked. And granted, I'm doing most of this work after I've already put in 8 hours at my other job, but I will just be burnt out doing editing and stuff like that. So much faster and harder than I am.
Yes.
But then I have my friends can sit in front of a computer hours and hours and hours and hours every day doing their job. And it's just like, it's fine. And it's just how different people are wired differently. They have a better bandwidth for looking at a screen and doing that stuff.
That's kind of what I was getting at, is that I have a lot of respect because when I do this stuff, it's very limited what I do.
Yeah.
And I get I'm burnt out like that.
Yeah.
And putting in a 14-hour day, mentally draining. Just the second I have to make a single edit, like, oh man, I screwed up this thing. Like I've been fooling around with editing something special. And the minute I have one mistake, I'm like, screw it, I'm done. Because it's like I already have stretched my mental capacity to the limit.
Well, and I would like to tie this back to working whenever I worked at GAW.
Mm-hmm.
I would start at 10 and work till like 4, and I'd be so done. Just looking at a screen and typing, and all that crap. It was just so tiring in a different way than physical labor does it to you.
Yeah,
and if you do physical labor over a course of years, you get used to it. So I'm sure if I did, like mental labor, just, like if I worked on a screen or something all day for years, I'd probably adjust to it. But
is that a term yet? Because I think we can coin that term.
Mental labor?
Mental labor, yeah.
That's what whenever my wife is having our child, I'm going to be like, I'm in mental labor. What about me? My wife's not pregnant yet.
No, we won't go there. That's a story for another time. So we're going to just jump off here. Game Awards 2020 still happening online. This is an article by Brian Barnett at IGN. Jeff Keighley has revealed that the 2020 Game Awards is still happening, but it will be available online, and it is poised to be the biggest Game Awards yet. IGN's Ryan McCaffrey sat down with Keighley to discuss the Game Awards in the latest episode of IGN Unfiltered, and when asked if the Game Awards would be virtual given the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic, Keighley said, "Yeah, what I will say about it is we have a very interesting plan for the show this year. We're definitely doing it. A lot of people are asking, are you delaying it? The Oscars are being postponed, and you postpone the Game Awards? We are absolutely not. We'll share more in the coming weeks about it, but it's actually probably going to be our biggest show yet. We are obviously not going to have 10,000 people in a room together physically for the show. But I think you'll see a little bit of this with how we do Gamescom. We're definitely doing more than just me in a room announcing winners. I'm really passionate about still doing the show live versus something pre-recorded. So yeah, we're working on some scenarios for ways we can present the show live with a bit of spectacle to people, without the public being able to buy tickets to come to the show and things like that this year. There's a lot of work, and honestly, our team is working overtime thinking of how we present this in a way that celebrates the industry in a bit bigger fashion. So we're going to do some live stuff. We're still hoping to do some spectacle and scale to how we do things, but we're likely not going to be able to do the traditional show this year, but it's absolutely happening for sure. Wow, he is really insistent. We're doing it.
Right? Yeah. Doubling down 3 times. Can you double down more than twice?
He's tripling down.
He's tripling down. It's like oh man, am I that fat that I thought of that stupid KFC sandwich? Oh man, I doubled down.
That was actually a good sandwich. Please bring it back. KFC.
I know.
No, it's kind of like he's insisting so much that it kind of it's like the lady does protest too much.
Yeah.
It's like, are you?
I mean, I think it's still going to happen. I don't know how many people are going to actually tune in, because they've had trouble getting viewers even on the traditional live viewing of it. But maybe being more of a streaming thing will help. I don't know. But I have a story completely unrelated to this actual announcement, so I'll just say that I enjoy the Game Awards. It's kind of like my feeling with E3, that it's just kind of like a traditional thing at this point, where like I get excited for E3 as an event. I get excited for the Game Awards as an event, even though that they don't really mean much.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's announcements there. There's and I like to root for the games that I like. That's it.
I mean,
It's like the ESPYs.
They started losing me last year. I mean, with all of the games that we had last year, and you put Untitled Goose Game as your game of the year.
Yeah. Oh no, I hated that. It was so dumb. It felt like such a troll choice. Like it was a meme. It was just a meme choice. It didn't make sense. But I was watching a.
I have cat hair all over my face. I'm sorry. It's making me itch all over.
I watched a clip with Jeff Keighley, which most people know from the Game Awards, but he's been involved with the game industry forever as a journalist. And back when the original Mass Effects came out, they were doing one of those "Be Scared for Your Kids" piece on like some news channel. I forget which one it was.
For Mass Effect?
For Mass Effect, because you could have sex with people in the game. Like you could choose, like you could, like woo your partners and choose who you wanted to have sex with and stuff like that. And it was basically like, this guy going in and having sex with these women in these games are going to teach all your kids to have sex with people in these in these games and stuff. It's just going to like morally deprave all your kids and stuff.
Do they actually like depict acts of sex?
I don't think so. I'm pretty sure they don't. I'm pretty sure it's basically just like, some like off-screen thrusting and some moaning or whatever. but
okay.
They had Jeff Keighley on, right? And this
okay.
There was one of these like super way too worried about the kids guests on or whatever. And they were going through the whole spiel about how it was going to corrupt all our kids and stuff. And Jeff Keighley comes on and he's just like, he like interrupts them and he's like, actually everything that you're saying is wrong. Like you can play as a woman too. Like you can play as a female shepherd and woo men too. Like it's not just like dude banging chick simulator. And by the way, have you played this game? And the lady just goes, no. And he's just like, so that was like, it was just a great own. And I was just like, thank you, Jeff Keighley. I love you. You've been doing good work for a while. So Nintendo is set to release an updated Switch to compete with the PS5 and Xbox Series X. This is from a report from Bloomberg, but it's also been summarized a little bit better from a article from Andy Robinson at Video Games Chronicle. So that's what we're going to cite. A new Nintendo Switch model is being planned for early next year, a second report in 24 hours has claimed. Bloomberg's Takahashi Mochizuki reports that the updated console hardware is yet to have its specifications finalized, but that it could feature upgraded computing power and support for 4K resolution graphics. Wow, a new thing is going to have updated computing power. Crazy. The publication claims that the launch of the new hardware will be coupled with a number of new first-party games, which it says could explain the relative drought of new releases so far in 2020. That's a good point. Yesterday, Taipei-based newspaper Economic Daily News was the first to claim that a new Nintendo Switch model will release in 2021. According to the publication, the new Switch model will feature upgraded interactivity and improved display quality. The report cites various hardware manufacturers responsible for the Switch's flash storage, Joy-Con controllers, and more. Over the past year, several media reports have claimed that Nintendo has been planning a third Switch model in addition to the flagship console and the Switch Lite. Citing sources from the related supply chain, Taiwanese website Digitimes reported in January that the new Switch hardware would enter mass production in the first quarter of this year and launch soon after. The Wall Street Journal also claimed in 2019 that Nintendo was planning a more powerful Nintendo Switch hardware revision with enhanced features targeted at avid gamers. And in April, a Nintendo Switch firmware update reportedly referenced a new unannounced hardware model. Any existing hardware plans will likely have been significantly disrupted by COVID-19 pandemic. Nintendo resumed shipping Switch consoles in Japan in April after a brief hiatus following a surge in demand for the hardware that has continued throughout the summer. In the 3 months ending June 30th, Nintendo Switch hardware cleared 5.5 million units sold for the quarter, which represents a year-on-year sales increase of more than 160%. Analysts have suggested that Nintendo Switch may have a longer than expected life cycle during which it surpasses Wii's sales total of 102.63 million units. Switch launched in March 2017 and has sold some 61 million units as of June 30th, 2020.
I can't believe that's all the longer ago it was.
I know, right? Doesn't it seem like it was like... It feels like it was at least a year before that.
Yeah, it feels like the Switch has to be 4 or 5 years old.
Right.
Yeah. It's wild.
So how do you feel about this one, Joe? Are you excited? Would you, as a Switch owner, are you happy that they're bringing out a new Switch? If they are, which everything seems to point to that they are. There's been so much smoke, there has to be fire.
Yeah, this has been rumored for a long time, and I think if you're familiar with how Nintendo operates, it's kind of obvious that it's true. They're not going to have. They're not going to already. I mean, they're probably already designing another console. Because basically once you launch a console, you're already working on the next one.
Well, right,
but
they noted the lack of big titles that they've had. Like this year, we've basically just had like Mario Origami King and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And to me, that kind of does lend a little bit of credence that they're holding back some more heavy hitters for like another launch or something like that.
But if you know Nintendo, especially the handhelds, and this is technically like it's both, but like so the DS had a million varieties, the Game Boy had a million varieties, the help me out here, the 3DS. Okay, yeah, so but in any case, Nintendo does incrementally like release more powerful things.
Yeah.
And I mean, and that to the point that like Sony and Xbox have both done, or Microsoft have done that as well. Mm-hmm. And so it only makes sense that Nintendo is going to release a more powerful Switch.
Yeah.
It's about the right amount of time where they should be getting ready to unveil it. It would make sense that they're like holding back heavy hitters to make use of that new power. Mm-hmm. So it all signs point to yes, this is true. All that being said, I'm skeptical of what they mean by 4K support. Okay, it says that it will. What's the exact wording? What can you read back that bit? Oh, here we go.
4K resolution graphics.
Yeah, it says, but that it could feature upgraded computing power, and support for 4K resolution graphics. So that. Do they mean that it could support 4K graphics like the current Switch can support 1080? Because it barely does.
I think that's what they're going for.
Yeah.
And I would imagine it'd be some sort of like checkerboarding solution like the PS4 Pro, where it's not actual 4K. It's like upscaled like 1440p upscaled to 4K or whatever.
Yeah. I mean, because we were talking about this a little bit earlier. Basically, the main screen, the built-in screen on your Switch runs at 720. When you dock it, it ups the resolution to 1080 for your television.
Yeah.
But when it does that, most games barely function at 30 FPS.
Yeah. No, the performance dump is a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. Especially in like something like, like 4-player Mario Kart and stuff like that.
That's where you really feel it.
So,
And so I don't think, I would rather not have the 4K because then it's going to use more of the computing power, run it slower. I'd rather you just give me 60 1080.
yeah. And the third-party support for the Switch has kind of died off a bit in terms of like stuff that's not indies. And like you'll get your Doom, Switch port or whatever, but the console really struggles. Like it can barely run The Witcher from 2015. And if you've got the competition moving into a new hardware generation, like I know that like Xbox is saying that they're going to support Xbox One and Series X for at least the first year, if not longer. But I think that you definitely need to get something more powerful out there to make sure that you don't get left without any third-party support. You need to be able to have something that can at least take ports. If you have something that's not even strong enough to get ports from the next series of consoles, then you're basically just sitting on indies and your own stuff.
Yeah, and that can't last forever. I do. Now this is getting really speculative, but it would be cool for Nintendo to do something like, so I know you're limited by space in a handheld. Okay.
Yeah.
The power and cooling and everything else, battery life, other considerations. But you could make it so that when you dock your system, the dock could make, I don't know how you would do it software wise, but if there was added hardware built into the dock that would boost performance when you docked it.
Yeah.
It seems like that would be the solution to give you 4K capability and still have it run gorgeously in your hand.
Yeah. No, I think that they could possibly do that. I don't know. That might also drive up the cost, though.
I mean, it would be worth it if you're actually talking about continuing the life cycle beyond what we saw with the Wii.
Yeah. No, but I think that, I think that it would be a mistake to try to put something into the dock because so many people play it out of the dock.
But you don't need 4K in your hand. That's what I'm getting at.
Yeah, that's a fair point. Yeah, that's true. All right. Well, let us know what you think. Are you excited for a new Switch? Are you excited for Switch Pro? How much do you think it would be? How powerful do you think it would be? Is it going to be a PS Pro in your hand? I think that it has to be, really. I mean, PS Pro is only like $300 now. If you can find a way to shrink it.
Imagine the cost, though. When you say that, imagine the cost of making the PS Pro fit in your hand.
Right. Yeah, I mean, basically, the first Switch is basically like an NVIDIA Shield in your hand. It's like a really high end tablet, which is already made to be that small. So I don't know. There's definitely going to be an added cost to making. It's not just, oh, well, this is how much the hardware for the PS Pro costs, so you should be able to just get it for that much. It's like there's also production cost in fitting it into that. So
let us know what you think. So our next article, Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War officially revealed.
This is getting, it's like, okay, this is like the most American, like the most American franchise that we have, and it's getting into dangerous like anime movie or like anime naming territory. Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War Ninjutsu 24 like
oh, you mean like the Dragon Ball Z video games?
Yes,
and stuff?
Exactly. It's just Blaze Blue,
Naruto Shippuden Kajabuga Call of Warrior Ninja Power.
Kajabuga.
Yeah.
All right, go on.
This is an article by Nick Stat at The Verge. A lot of Virgin. The Verge. Wasn't that a thing on regular show?
I don't know.
The Verge, or like. We're coming back to that. In a briefing with press earlier this month, studio representative walked us through how Black Ops Cold War will be structured. It will have a flashy Hollywood-style single-player campaign reminiscent of last year's Modern Warfare reboot. Reboot. There will also be the series' signature multiplayer modes redesigned and tweaked to give Treyarch and Raven room to build on what Infinity Ward created, alongside revived Zombies mode. And all of it will be connected through Warzone, which will live on for existing COD players and link together with those that pick up Black Ops Cold War, regardless of what platform they decide to play it on. Black Ops Cold War is set to launch on November 13th for current-gen devices. Activision is announcing today with confirmed versions for PS5 and Xbox Series X coming holiday 2020. The company is also selling a $70 cross-gen bundle, $10 more than the standard version, with access to a version of the game on PS4, PS5, and Xbox One and Xbox Series X. Here's a full rundown of what we know. Single player. Much like how last year's Modern Warfare reboot revived iconic characters from Infinity Ward's popular COD trilogy like Captain John Price, Black Ops Cold War will do the same with characters Alex Woods, Frank Mason, and Jason Hudson, all central players in the original Black Ops that first released in 2010. This time around, however, the game will feature real historical figures, including President Ronald Reagan, and cutscenes and other narrative world building. The storyline picks up in the middle of the Cold War between the U.S. and the Soviet Union in the 1980s, as the player is tasked with hunting down a newly reactive Soviet spy known as Perseus, based on the real-life codename and backstory of a potential Soviet spy thought to have infiltrated the U.S. government. Multiplayer, zombies, and Warzone. The game will feature crossplay, not just across platforms as last year's installment first introduced, but across generations too. That means players on Xbox One should be able to play with those on PS5, and players on Xbox Series X should be able to play with those on PS4, as well as all the other various combinations involved. There will, of course, be a seasonal battle pass, like most shooters and battle royale games now have, but a unique benefit for Cold War will be shared progression with Warzone and the ability to keep Modern Warfare content like skins or operators in Call of Duty parlance. And weapon blueprints when you transition your account over to the new game. That's a huge plus for players that invest heavily in each new Call of Duty installment, only to have to abandon those unlockable items and other cosmetics when a new game rolls around. A full multiplayer reveal is scheduled for September 9th, Activision says. And finally, Treyarch and Raven are promising a return of zombies. Activision isn't yet sharing how Warzone will remain playable both for free-to-play players, Modern Warfare 1s, and those who buy the new Black Ops Cold War, but the company is promising that the Battle Royale, which exists as a standalone title, as a separate mode with the current Call of Duty game. Did I miss something?
No, I think you're good. But the company is promising that the Battle Royale, which exists as a standalone title and as a separate mode with the current main COD game, will not drop support for any current mode.
Okay.
So you'll be able to play it across all the platforms.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think this is really cool that they're doing cross-gen. You know, where you can, it doesn't matter. You can play it with your PS4 buddies if they don't feel like they want to upgrade, which I think is super smart for Activision to do, because I think there could be a scenario where a whole lot of people don't upgrade, you know, right away.
I feel like if they actually deliver on all of this, it is brilliant. It's genius.
Mm-hmm.
Because letting you keep all the stuff that you've already bought is really going to make people happy. Being able to play with all of your friends no matter what.
Yeah.
I mean, this is all just, it's so smart.
Yeah, I think this is like they opened the door to this with the introduction of Warzone, where you wanted to make it a perpetual kind of product. and that means that you're going to perpetually have to ensure people have their purchases in perpetuity. So I think that it's kind of taking away a little bit of the nickel and diming thing that COD does, and a lot of games do, like especially sports games. And I'm all for it, really. I think that, it's cool that they're offering the free Warzone thing, for people that don't want to buy in, and that it seems like this new Call of Duty is going to be just jam packed with stuff.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I would be completely cool if this is how the series continues, and I love that they're going back to Black Ops, because it's, despite the failings of Black Ops 4, because it decided to be a purely multiplayer game, I think that it's still, if not the most popular, 1-2 with the Modern Warfare games, in the series in terms of like fan base. People really like Black Ops, and I think that people started to get a little off of this series when they took Black Ops into like the future with like robots and like wall running and crap. I think it's cool that they're going back to basics, a lot like how they did with this last Modern Warfare, where they're making it more grounded, and I think that's a great call. I'm actually really excited to see how this new Black Ops works out.
So I'm trying to remember which Black Ops it was. I think it may have been 3. I don't remember.
Mm-hmm.
Which one was the one that actually had like the robots and everything? Was that 4? What you fighting against?
Yeah, I think it was.
Could,
I think it was 3.
You could like teleport and like kind of or whatever.
I think 2 and 3 both had more future tech, but I think 3 really doubled down on like the robots. Like I'm pretty sure there was like a robot that was like in your squad.
Yeah,
there was like a point where like you got your arms and stuff ripped off by.
Yes, that was 3, right?
Yeah, that was 3.
Okay, that game is where I stopped. I played to that part. Like I played to, and I was like, this is junk.
Yeah.
I never even touched 4.
Yeah, I had 4 because a friend bought it for me because we really wanted to play the Battle Royale mode. And let me tell you, man, that was nowhere near as good as Warzone. Oh my God, it was like light years behind Warzone. And, it makes me, I want to give Activision some credit here. And I know that everybody likes to hate on COD because it's so popular and it's massive and it's, a new game every year, yada, yada. But they've really learned a lot. They've really come a long way. If you look at what they offered with like Black Ops 3 and 4 to where they're at now with, the last Modern Warfare game, Warzone, and now what they're trying to do with Black Ops, they're doing a great job, I think. They deserve the praise, even if you can be cynical about the series as a whole. We're kind of running low on time, so let's try to get through these last articles in a pretty quick fashion. How does that sound? So after bringing Horizon Zero Dawn to PC, Sony is exploring bringing more exclusive titles to the platform in the future. This is from Adam Bankhurst at IGN. In Sony's 2020 corporate report, it states that it will explore expanding our first-party titles to the PC platform in order to promote further growth in our profitability. It's important to note that this will most likely mean that Sony would look to port older titles such as 2018's God of War as opposed to brand new releases. Horizon Zero Dawn, for example, was released in 2017 and didn't make its way to PC until 2020, right around the reveal of its sequel, Horizon Forbidden West. This move by Sony could get other consumers interested in their first-party games, who would then possibly feel the need to switch over to the PlayStation ecosystem to play the next entries in those series. PS4 exclusives Death Stranding and Detroit Become Human also were released on PC, but those were published by 505 Games and Epic Games, respectively. So I'm all about it. I know that it's going to be like years down the line, and it's going to be probably mostly like what they're talking about with Horizon. Like it's basically an open secret that the new God of War is coming. So I wouldn't be surprised if they drop the old God of War. They've gotten all the sales that they're going to get out of it probably on the platform, just like they've gotten all the sales that they would get probably out of Horizon. And the new ones are coming out. Those obviously will not be on PC, but it's just kind of like, hey, if you like this, we've got the new one over here. You should come buy the system. I think it's a great strategy, and I think it's honestly long overdue.
You don't stand to. You're not going to lose anything by making it available to more people, I think.
Yeah, no, I don't either. And I think that the people that are buying a PS4 at this stage of the life cycle are buying it because of the cost. You know, I can get a PS4 for $200. I'm excited to see more of their games make it to PC.
I think everyone knew this was coming as soon as they knew that Horizon, as soon as they announced that Horizon was going to go to PC. It's kind of like, well, obviously they're going to keep that trend going because there's no way they're going to lose out on anything by doing this. So once they actually see the sales numbers, which it's been selling gangbusters, obviously they're going to keep going. So I'm not surprised.
All right. Let's keep her going.
New Ratchet and Clank: A Rift Apart gameplay shown at Gamescom, confirmed to be a launch window title. This is an article by Michael McWhorter at Polygon. Insomniac Games gave PlayStation fans a longer look at Ratchet and Clank: A Rift Apart, the duo's debut on PlayStation 5 during Gamescom opening night live on Thursday. The new trailer for Ratchet and Clank: Rift Apart appears to explain how those dangerous rifts come to be. Ratchet and Clank battle Dr. Nefarious, who wields the powerful Dimensionator, shredding the dimensional integrity of a futuristic alien city, Megalopolis. There's plenty of familiar Ratchet and Clank gunplay, and a varied arsenal of weird weapons. But there's also some gorgeous visual effects, including ray-traced reflections and environments stuffed with enemies, NPCs, battle detritus, and impressive particle effects. The new gameplay footage is an extended look at what Sony Interactive Entertainment and Insomniac announced Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart in June at the PS5 reveal event. The game's announcement trailer highlighted one of the PS5's big promises: ultra-fast loading times, as demonstrated by portals that transported Ratchet and Clank nearly instantly to other worlds. After the new footage premiered, Insomniac confirmed that Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart is a launch window release for PlayStation 5, but did not provide more specific timing. What do you think?
I think this is either right around Christmas or February, April of 21. Something that's like within 6 months, I think. Or maybe within like 3 months. But something that, you know, you can buy your launch window games and look forward to this very shortly afterwards. And I'm excited because they appear to have confirmed that there's going to be a 4K 30 mode and a 1080p 60 mode. And I will never put them down for giving you the option. Like, I love frame rate. I have a 140 hertz monitor. I could easily go out and get a 4K monitor and run games on it, and it would be great, but it would also be at a lower frame rate and a lower refresh rate. And I'm all about the FPS. So the more, like, anytime I get to play games on my PS4 Pro and they give me the option of playing in performance mode, I'm all about the performance mode. I just like that I can play at a higher frame rate. It feels better to me. So if you want to play it in the prettier mode, cool, they give you the option. If you want to play it with more responsive controls and frame rate, cool, they give you the option. I don't see a downside.
Yeah, I thought this game looked amazing when they showed it off. I was super stoked. I'm still super stoked. I hate the term launch window.
Yeah.
I hate it. It either comes out when the system comes out or it's just a game that you're looking forward to.
Yeah.
There's no such thing as a launch window.
Yeah, no, it's just pure marketing speak.
Yeah.
But yeah, I since like PS3, there have been the like a Pixar movie things thrown around. I think we're officially at the point where this like is actually like a Pixar movie too.
Oh yeah,
it looks fantastic. I can't wait. So there's a new Star Wars Squadron single player trailer that's been shown. This is according to Rye Christ at CNET. There's a new trailer out for the galactic dogfighting game Star Wars Squadrons ahead of the title's October 2nd release on PC, PS4, and Xbox One. Electronic Arts, Motive Studios, and Lucasfilm released the new trailer Thursday, including an in-depth look at the game's single-player campaign. "We all choose our path," the narrator says in the trailer as the trailer begins, hinting at the game's opposing protagonists from the Empire and the Rebellion. Light or dark, freedom or destruction. "Our single-player story is one of daring pilots and deep-seated rivalries," says Motive Studios' Susan Hunka, the game's narrative producer. "Over the course of the story, you'll fly as two pilots and on opposite sides of the war And like all modes in Star Wars Squadrons, you'll have the option to experience every mission fully immersed in VR. The trailer goes on to feature cameos from Star Wars Universe favorites like Wedge Antilles and Ultimate highlights scenes and sequences from an Imperial mission set behind enemy lines. In addition to the single-player campaign, the game will also support cross-platform multiplayer. Star Wars Squadron is available to order for pre-order now for $40. What do you think? Are you interested in this game?
Yes.
Man,
Yes.
the dog fighting was my favorite part of the last Battlefront, and I'm so excited for a new Squadrons game.
I have one thing to say.
Yes.
Hunka burning love.
Hunka burning rebel scum.
Yeah. I'd so want to play this game. It looks so good. I'm
and with the VR support, I would be interested to see to plug it into the Oculus and
is the $40 just for that's the whole cost, right?
Yeah, that's it. It's a $40 game,
dude.
I think it's going to be a little content light at launch, and I think that's why they're giving it the lower price tag. But I don't know, especially it's having like VR support and stuff. So like, there's a lot of development involved in that. So
I imagine there's going to be. It'll probably get a couple of DLC packs.
Yeah, some paid content in there to pad it out a bit.
But it looks... I'll probably be happy enough just being able to fly something around.
Yeah.
If they do it right. Okay, so first Doom Eternal single-player DLC, The Ancient Gods Shown Off, arrives in October. Doom Eternal's first campaign... Oh, I'm sorry. This is an article by Owen Good at Polygon. Doom Eternal's first campaign extension, The Ancient Gods Part 1, put sinners in the hand of a very angry demon on October 20th. ID Software and Bethesda Softworks revealed and dated the expansion at Gamescom on August 27th. The DLC is part of Doom Eternal's $29.99 Season 1 pass, which was included with the deluxe edition when the game launched in March. It's $19.99 a la carte, and importantly, Bethesda said players do not need to own Doom Eternal to buy and play The Ancient Gods Part 1. A standalone purchase of The Ancient Gods Part 1 gives the buyer access to Battle Mode, Doom Eternal's 2v1 best of 5 rounds multiplayer match. Bethesda's new news release says players will confront an ancient evil awoken from an imbalance in the heavens. The baddies players mow down will include fierce new demons, the statement said. The Ancient Gods was announced at the beginning of QuakeCon 2020 2 weeks ago. The Ancient Gods narrative begins right after the end of the story campaign. Evidently, the Doomslayer's destruction and death dealing during the main game has knocked heaven and hell out of balance, so it's your job to clean up the mess, likely by making a bloodier one.
Nice. Doom Eternal's amazing, and everybody should play it, unless you're like Joe and you don't like the gore. Because it's not short on gore. Let me tell you that.
I'm just saying, like,
it's not your bag, baby.
No, it's not. I mean, here's the deal. I'm very libertarian when it comes to things like this. I really despise the people who say that like games make people more violent and things like that. I'm not opposed to games like Doom for that reason. It's not something I enjoy. Mm-hmm. If you can, like, I don't think games make people more violent. I don't like having the like image. I'm a person who's very imaging, like based, and like things will stick in my head, and I don't want to see that all the time.
Yeah, and it's like PTSD a little bit.
Little bit, yeah. But if you can handle stuff like that, by all means, like, you know, you do you. I actually think that games have been shown to be quite therapeutic. Like Call of Duty has actually been linked to healing from PTSD, which you would think if games caused people to be more violent, then the idea you would think that would have a negative impact in PTSD and things like that, but it doesn't. So I don't know. This isn't quite the where we wanted to go with the article, but I thought it was a good place to tie it in. Is that you know, it's just not for me.
Right. I'm happy that they're selling it a la carte too.
Yeah, no, that's brilliant.
$20 is kind of steep, but I mean that will all depend on the length of the
Yeah, I was
the
going to
DLC.
say, I don't think that's steep.
If it's like another, I mean, how long would you expect it to be? Would you expect it to be 4 hours, 6 hours? How much do you want for that $20?
I mean, that all depends on the level of
goodness.
Yeah. I think if you're looking at similar build quality, the same build quality as Doom Eternal, then I would say I'd be happy with a 3-hour game at $20.
Yeah. I think that the people that are like huge fans of Doom are going to pay up anyways. They just, at that point, they're as ravenous as the Doomslayer is. They're as ravenous about this game and playing this game as the Doomslayer is about ripping through demons. They'll just keep going. The more you give them, the more they'll keep going after it. So,
are you speaking for yourself right there?
I am speaking for myself right there. World of Warcraft Shadowlands gets a release date. This is from Matt Wales at Eurogamer. Shadowlands, the latest expansion for World of Warcraft, is launching on 27th October. The expansion's big new addition is the introduction of the titular Shadowlands, as described as the resting place for every mortal soul, virtuous or vile, that has ever lived. In more practical terms, that means 5 new zones for World of Warcraft's player to explore: Ardenweld, Maldraxxus, Revendreth, the Maw, and Bastion, home of the angelic soul guides, the Kyrians. Wow, that is some weeb crap right there. Elsewhere, Shadowlands brings a new player hub in the form of Oribos, the Eternal City. Yeah, none of this is weeb stuff. The Maldraxxus and Revendreth, though. Wow. Shadowlands brings a new player hub in the form of Oribos, the Eternal City, situated slap bang in the middle of it all. Plus a new Covenants feature, which adds 4 area-specific faction-like Covenants, each with their own campaign and gear. It also ushers in Torghast, Tower of the Damned, described as an endlessly replayable, ever-changing dungeon. World of Warcraft continues to exist. People continue to play it. People continue to play the new games. Cool. I'm happy for them. Really I am. I think if this was my game, like if this was the game that I wanted to play, this is like the best case scenario of all time, where the game's so old and they're still committed to delivering more content for it. And this has to be like, granted, I know people are paying like $15 a month for access over years and years and years or whatever. You're definitely paying for it in spades, at this point. But, the level of content that Blizzard's been able to provide and the level of support for this game over the years has just been great, especially alongside a classic, something for everybody in this game if it's your kind of thing. So,
I mean, I gave World of Warcraft a try, and I mean, I did like it a little bit, but it's not something that I really just have to play.
It's too much of a time sink for me.
Exactly. You and I have the same thing where it's like, for me to get into a game, like you gotta respect my time.
Yeah.
I think more and more you're seeing that among the adult gamer. I think gaming tends to aim at younger people. Mm-hmm. But when you get those games that respect your time, we're getting a little out over our skis. I'm gonna go ahead and move on.
Yeah,
it's good for you if you like World of Warcraft. So, I'm not trying to be sarcastic or anything.
We're not being snarky. It's just not. It's not our bag.
Nope. If you like it, cool. Good on you. Chadwick. Oh, man.
Yeah, this is the last bit of news that we have. It sucks to end the show on such a sad note, but it feels like a disservice not to mention it. So I'll let you go and take us out with it, Joe.
Take out your heart. Chadwick Boseman, star of Black Panther, dead at 43. Really feeling the... What do you call it? Mortality. Really feeling my mortality right now with that number.
Yeah.
So this is an article by Reggie I am so sorry. I'm not even going to try because I don't want to get anyone mad at me. And Michael Levinson of the New York Times. Uguo?
Yeah, if I was going to take a shot at it, that would probably be my shot.
If I'm wrong, I'm sorry. So Chadwick Boseman, the regal actor who embodied a long-held dream of African-American moviegoers as the star of the groundbreaking superhero film Black Panther, died on Friday at his home in Los Angeles. He was 43. His publicist confirmed the death, saying Mr. Boseman's wife, Taylor Simone Ledward, and family were by his side at the time. A statement posted on Mr. Boseman's Instagram account said that he learned he had stage 3 colon cancer in 2016 and that it had progressed to stage 4. A true fighter, Chadwick persevered through it all and brought you many of the films you have come to love so much, the statement said. From Marshall to The Five Bloods, August Wilson's Mo Rainey's Black Bottom, and several more. All were filmed during and between countless surgeries and chemotherapy. A private figure by Hollywood standards, Mr. Boseman rarely publicized details about his personal life. He found fame relatively late as an actor. He was 35 when he appeared in his first prominent role as Jackie Robinson in 42, but made up for lost time with a string of star-making performances in major biopics. Whether it was James Brown in Get On Up, Thurgood Marshall in Marshall, or T'Challa in Black Panther, Mr. Boseman's unfussy versatility and old-fashioned gravitas helped turn him into one of his generation's most sought-after leading men.
Yeah, that's a that's a true loss. It really is. I think for us, it's kind of like, we talk about the news and the industry and all that stuff, and I think the first thing that you think would be like, what do they do moving forward with Black Panther? But really, that just seems like dumb to even talk about. It just sucks. It just really sucks. And it's the guy had stage 3 colon cancer that he learned about in 2016, and he's gone in 2020. So life is short, and it can end quickly. So make the most of every day.
Yeah. Enjoy it while you have it. Don't take it for granted. None of this stupid crap about you hate life. All this nihilistic garbage. Grow a pair, get out there, enjoy the life that you have, because some people did do something with their lives and, they're gone too soon.
Yeah.
So start having a little respect.
So, I guess our condolences and best wishes to Boseman's family, Boseman's wife, and really anybody close to him that's affected. And, it sucks that we couldn't see him in more roles. And
I'm going to pull out something a little bit bright from this, and that's that not just a new appreciation for the life that I got, but like just the respect that I have for this guy, that he's going through all that and was filming the whole time.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't know about this. Did you know about this?
No, I didn't. I literally, when it happened, this was from like August 28th. So it was 2 days ago. It just happened. And I was like, what? And I saw that it was said that he was dead. And I thought it was from like some sort of accident.
Yeah, I thought
something like that. And then it was, and that, I think that plays into him, what they say about him being a private figure and stuff. I'm sure stuff came out in 2016 about it, but he wasn't like filming a documentary about his struggles with it and stuff like that. It was just like, here, like, I'm going to deal with this. I'm going to keep plugging away, because it seems like that's what he really loved to do, was just to act. And I would think that over the last couple of years, I think that all he really wanted to do, he probably had an idea that he might not survive. Having stage 3 cancer and, catching it so late, colon cancer is very hard to get over. So I imagine that he probably had some sort of idea that he wasn't going to make it, or that the chances were small, and he loved to act. And I feel like what he could do the most with the rest of the time he had on Earth was to do what he loved and to try to get more of himself out into the world. So yeah, again, our condolences, and
yeah,
too soon. With that being said, that's going to be all for today. Sorry that we have to leave it on such a downer note, but I didn't want to start the episode with a downer note either and have it like, paint the whole episode. So it'd be like, hey, this guy died and, let's try to lighten things up by hearing about Call of Duty, like that,
Yeah, it feels very disingenuous. So I prefer it this way. Yeah. It'd be hard to like bring the energy level up after that. I mean, it would, as a listener, it'll probably stink walking away and you're like, oh man.
Yeah.
But
yeah, that's true. Anyhow, that's all for today. Remember to like and subscribe wherever you're listening. We would like to hear from you, so comment if you like, and you can email us at nonsensorypod@gmail.com or tweet us at nonsensory1. Also, we stream Tuesdays at 7:30 Eastern, so please come check us out at twitch.tv/nonsensory. And if you can, please support us on Patreon at patreon.com/nonsensorypod. Also, head on over to gamingaccessweekly.com and give our new friends at GAW your love and support. As always, we love you. Peace.
be easy.